Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Miguel back again with another video, and today I'm actually going to do a review or a re-review of the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now, I've been using this phone for a while now, so this can be considered a 4-month review of the phone ever since it came out. And I've had a little bit of a change of thought since I started using this as a daily driver. And if you guys have seen my previous video on the S24, my initial review, a lot of people really hated that because I didn't have anything nice to say about it. Using this as an everyday phone kind of gave me a little bit of a different perspective, and I've been using both the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra side by side as my daily drivers. This is my regular phone, but I also started using this on the side. And I kind of want to give a perspective from a 4-month review and tell you guys whether, if I had a change of mind from my initial review, whether this phone is something that you should consider buying even right now after 4 months, or should you still consider last year's S23 Ultra, considering the fact that there's really not a lot of major changes in the S24 apart from in a few places. If I had to describe the S24 Ultra in one word, it would be snappy. I think this is probably one of the snappiest phones that I've used. It's extremely fast. And I'm not saying that the iPhone 15 here lags in any way, but after using the S24 Ultra, the iPhone 15 sort of seems slow. And slow because I think that's just the way that the animations are built in. I've also noticed that the S24 Ultra is very vibrant. It's a very contrasty phone, and I'm talking about the display, I'm talking about the pictures. If we just talk about the phone, it's probably one of the most good-looking phones to look at because of the way that it's just symmetrical. It's kind of flat. It fits very well in the hands. The flat display this time really does wonders, and it really does feel like a better phone, even though there's really not a lot of difference from the S23. So the symmetrical bezels make the phone look way better than it did last year. And I just like the way that it feels, but I did notice that these edges can be a little bit sharp sometimes, and I've got hit in the head with this while using the phone laying down, and I have to say it hurts a lot. Like hitting yourself in the head with this titanium side, really you're going to be in a world of hurt if you do that to yourself. And comparing this to the iPhone, which has rounded edges, this really does not do that. But nevertheless, I love the way that the phone feels in the hands. It looks like a very compact, very sturdy phone to feel. I also have to talk about the quality of it because I have dropped this phone so many times. There was not a single scratch on this phone whatsoever. And people were talking about how the quality was not good and that the glass was breaking really quickly. It really wasn't. But there is a feedback that I have about the display, and that's the coating of it, because the coating is it scratches so easily. I don't have any protective coating over here. This is just the phone how it is. I've been using it without any sort of coating, but I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, and I'm going to show you guys a picture over here. This side, this spot over here is like a permanent spot. Like it does not go away. I tried wiping it, and it just seems like it's because of the stylus that maybe it was used here a lot. It just felt like it was scratched up, like the coating was taken off somehow. And no matter how much I wiped it, no matter what I used to clean the display, it just didn't go away. So that's kind of a negative feedback if you want to consider that. That's something that I constantly noted. If we talk about the display, just the overall fingerprint sensor as well, it's pretty snappy. That's something that I like, but I did notice that when you're laying down or when you're using it with one hand, it sometimes becomes a little bit difficult to use. So it's a little bit higher than expected, but again, there's really no other placement. Like if you put it down here, it didn't make sense. It's just the way where it should be, but I just noticed that with one hand, sometimes you kind of find it a little bit difficult. Apart from that, I did notice that whenever I was using the phone one-handed, my pinky finger just naturally just covered the speaker down here, and that was something that I often had to deal with because I often had to remove it so that the noise or that the sound wouldn't be obstructed. That's just the way my placement is. I'm not saying that everyone is going to be the same, and that's just the way that I hold the phone with one hand. My pinky just naturally just kind of covers the speaker, and I'm not calling this a design flaw. It's just the way that it is. Now, talking about how different this is from the S23 Ultra, I've used the S23 for pretty much equal amounts of time that I've used the S24 Ultra, and I I hate to say this, and again, this is not a negative review, but I did not see a lot of changes, at least from a functions point of view. So yes, design-wise, or at least feel-wise, this is now a titanium body, so you do kind of feel that it does feel premium, and it does feel different from aluminum. And I did notice something, that whenever I was using this phone as a hotspot, the phone was heated at all times. So the phone was hot to the touch during the complete time that I had hotspot on. For some reason, I don't know why that happened. And this is not the only phone that it happens. So I had another Samsung phone that I was also using as a hotspot, and that one was also hot to the touch. And I don't know whether that's just a Samsung thing, where I haven't really tested out other phones with hotspot to tell you guys that this is a normal occurrence. If you guys know that this is something normal, let me know. I don't know about it, but I felt and I noticed that the phone was warm to the touch the complete time that I had hotspot on. So that was kind of weird. I've done it with the iPhone. I've never seen the phone warm up in there. And then I also noticed that the battery, even though this is a 5,000 milliampere battery, it didn't last me as long as I wanted to. Now, comparing to the iPhone 15, I use this phone side by side. So if you guys don't know, I recently had a daughter a few days ago, and I was in the hospital day and night with these two phones. And I used both of the phones pretty much equally. The Samsung S24 Ultra, by the end of the day, it was pretty much drained. And this one still had around 60–70% battery by the end of the day. I was in the hospital at 7 a.m. and I remember going to sleep around 1 a.m. This was, I think, at 15%, and this still had around 60–70% battery. So that was a little bit surprising to me. I don't know what it was, and I don't remember using this too much, apart from making a few phone calls. But it was just something that I noticed, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing to drain the battery more on this one. The iPhone 15's battery has been incredible. I don't know what people are talking about, saying that it has the worst battery ever. It does not. This is such a good battery that I'm amazed by how much battery I still have left by the end of the day. Performance-wise, obviously this comes with Snapdragon's 8 Gen 3 chip, and it has the made for Galaxy chipset, which is a specific chip that's used for Galaxy phones, which is overclocked. I didn't see any lag there whatsoever. I didn't use this to play games, but nevertheless, I didn't find this phone slowing down in any way whatsoever. And one more thing that I wanted to mention here, going back to my point about how different this is from the S23 Ultra, a lot of people will say that this year the S24 Ultra had generative AI features that were the main difference or the big change when it comes to the S24 Ultra. And that's right, but the issue is that those AI features are not available in all countries. Like in the UAE, it's not really available. You just get a few AI features here, not a lot of them. And it's the same thing with the iPhone. So I'm not going to just say that this is an Apple or a Samsung thing. When it comes to Apple, I can't use the ECG or the emergency services when it comes to the Apple Watch, because that's just not available here in the region. And then the same thing applies to the S24 Ultra, where I didn't find myself using any of the AI features apart from maybe taking photos a little bit and maybe a circle to search, which is also not something that is new. I've seen it before, and I don't know if you want to call that an AI feature. Nevertheless, I kind of started to like the phone as opposed to my first review, and it just kind of grew on me the more I used it. When it comes to the camera system on the back, again, I didn't find a big difference in the iPhone 15 Pro's camera and this. Both of them, I took pictures side by side. It was very difficult to me to tell which phone was which. If I just took a blind photo of the same object, I couldn't tell which one was which. I did notice that the S24 had a very, very sharp cutout when it comes to the bokeh, when it comes to just general pictures, and then there were also very vibrant pictures when it comes to the S24 Ultra. So yes, the camera system is amazing. It's probably one of the best out there, arguably. Maybe equally as good as the iPhone 15 Pro. I don't know, that's still debatable. There was really not a lot of difference. I was struggling to find a difference, but yes, this does shoot 8K video. If you are wondering, then this does have the capability. The stylus. I did find myself kind of making notes whenever I was out buying something or I needed a grocery shopping list. I would take a picture of something and then I would dribble over it and kind of convert that into notes. So it was useful, but I didn't use it a lot. For most part, my daughters were just using this to scribble around and just kind of make different faces. If you can see that, that's her attempt to kind of make a little bit of a drawing. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, overall, I think the phone is a great phone. At $1,300, it kind of still makes you think twice whether you want to spend that much money or not. So that's kind of something that you might want to consider, because I mean, the iPhone 15 Pro Max will also pretty much cost you around the same, or probably just a little bit less, at $1,100, $1,200, depending on what memory settings you go with. But yeah, guys, I was pretty impressed by the S24 Ultra, and I'm not saying that I'm not taking back my review on the S24. That was kind of a review where I mentioned that there was not really a lot of difference, and then one of the best Android phones cost $1,300, but then the second best Android phone cost half that. That was more of a video talking about the pricing and how it really did not make sense to buy a phone that really did not have a lot of changes from last year's phone, apart from the aluminum body and then some slight changes on the AI, which are limited to certain geographical features and some changes in the camera. But nevertheless, guys, I like this phone. I never said I hated the S24 Ultra. So yeah, guys, that's my long-term review on the S24 Ultra. By all means, if you have the budget, go ahead and buy it. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with it. But it kind of makes you think twice. If you want to spend $1,300, I'm pretty sure you'll think about it at least once. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.